Welcome back to the channel, folks. Mr. H here, and today we're going to be doing a review on Velvet Buzzsaw. Say that 10 times and don't mess that up. This will be an informal review. If you don't like them, please do go away. Just come back to another one of my videos in the future. It will be unscripted. We're just going to talk about it. I watched it last night, and I want to get my thoughts out there whilst it's kind of fresh in my mind, but it will be a little bit rambly. So, a few things to note. I didn't realise this was being pegged as a horror movie. It's absolutely not a horror movie. First things first, let's talk non-spoilers, then get into spoilers. But it's on Netflix. If you were going to see it, you would have seen it by now, because it's out. It's one of those things, it's at the weekend, it's easily accessible. So, I didn't realise that this was being pegged as a horror movie, and that is where it lets itself down. So, it's absolutely not a horror movie at all. I would say, if anything, it's more a thriller, but it's barely that. It is what I would consider maybe a character piece, I guess, or an industry piece, if anything. So, non-spoiler wise, the cast is outstanding. Jake Gyllenhaal really does display himself to be such a superb actor, and look, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but this is my review and my opinion. I think he's probably one of the best actors that there is going around today. He really is a chameleon. But I was thinking about this when I was walking last night. I took a walk outside, and I was thinking this, that a lot of people really do rag on actors in this day and age because they don't change their voices, and they tend to be very, very similar. To be fair, if we're looking at actors which have noticeably a lot more notoriety than Jake Gyllenhaal, I mean, even the likes of Jeff Bridges, for instance, the dude. The guy's a one-note actor, especially in his voice, so I don't think that's something that we can really critique actors on. Not everyone is a Daniel Day-Lewis, for instance. So Jake Gyllenhaal was superb in this. The other lead in this movie, and I don't know fully how to pronounce her name, but it was Zawe, I think her name is, Zawe Ashton. She was great, and the way she performed and went through an arc is something which I'll touch on in spoilers, but was really, really good. And I think it may have gone unnoticed by a few people, but I don't really know. So we'll touch on that, and I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. John Malkovich. It's John Malkovich. It's fantastic. I want to see him in more stuff. God damn, he's such a good actor. Toni Collette was superb. Yeah, she was really, really good. Natalia Dyer, should I say. Strange seeing her pop up. She's obviously, Stranger Things. She was good in it for what she was, in it. Rene Russo, great. Really, really good. And that's kind of the bulk of the cast. So the story is, we have an artist that, again, it's in the trailer, so it's a non-spoiler here, but we have an artist which has gone and died. We have Zawe Ashton's character who stumbles across the artwork and it starts being sold. Strange things start happening. That's the bulk of the plot, to talk in a non-spoiler way. Now, I can recommend it. Pacing is not the best, and it is overly long in my eyes. I think that this film could have been so much better if they just tightened it up a little bit. The cast was very, very good. Some of them had not much to do, and some of them will really get on people's nerves, but again, in my eyes, and I'll touch on this in a second, but in my eyes it really did work. Lighting was solid, soundtrack was great, the score was actually really, really decent, and the effects were very good. So the reason why I think this is a good film, and the reason why I was really surprised to hear it's being pegged as a horror, is because it isn't. To me, I watched this film and it's very, very intentionally pretentious. Like, I mean, we are talking the creme de la creme of pretension here. Like, it's just such an ego trip. It's so bad in that manner, but it's supposed to be, and I think that it will really get on a lot of people's nerves for good reason. So yeah, that's non-spoilers. I can't really discuss more of my thoughts in a non-spoiler fashion, so we'll have to go into spoiler territory now. You've been warned, spoiler territory, but I can recommend it. So anyway, let's talk spoilers. So the reason why I think this film is pretentious and so good at what it does is the guy that died, the artist, right, this Desai or something like that. Honestly, I can't remember the guy's name, but whatever. He dies. He did not want his artwork to be sold, specifically. In fact, he left instructions for it to be destroyed. And I believe, again, my interpretation of the film and why I think it was so good, but really it shouldn't have been pegged as a horror. My interpretation of the film is that the man not wanting his artwork to be sold is a direct reflection of Zawe Ashton's character going through this arc. So, I'm not sure if anyone picked this up, but when we're first introduced to this character, she's quite full of life. She's quite a relatable character in a way. Not fully, but in a way. She then finds the artwork, she becomes enamored with the artwork, and sees it as a key to her future career and success. And then from there, she just becomes a bitch. That's the best way to describe it. She becomes a pretentious. She's got her head so far up her ass, she's wearing herself as a puppet, right? She is puppeteering herself. It's right up there. But it is such a great depiction of someone's fall into this horrific world that this artist didn't want to be a part of. And that, I think, is truly great. I really loved it. And I'm not sure, again, that was my interpretation. I don't know if anyone else picked up on that, or if now, having said it, maybe it's something which you consider as part of the film. But she really does have an arc where she goes from one very clear personality to another. And it really is quite a striking change. So I really enjoyed that, but it shouldn't have been pegged as a horror. It's not scary in any way, shape or form. There's no horror elements to it. There are some deaths, and that's it. So if anything, I really do think that this should have been pegged as a thriller. And even then, it's not. It's more of an industry piece, a character study of sorts. Jake Gyllenhaal's character, the Morph was his name, he was a reviewer of art, was great. His slow, steady descent into madness was superb. I had high hopes for this film though, because it's Jake Gyllenhaal pairing up with the same director that did Nightcrawler, and arguably that is one of Jake Gyllenhaal's best pieces. I would also say that Southpaw is another absolutely superb piece by Jake Gyllenhaal, but those two clearly worked very, very well together. And I was a little bit underwhelmed, but I don't know whether it's the director's input on this, or Netflix, or just the story that's being adapted. Genuinely, I would say that it's the story. I think it had real bad pacing, it was overly long. For myself, I took a break midway through and I took my dog for a walk. It's Netflix, for goodness sake, you can do that. And I enjoyed it a lot more having come back to the movie, having gone for a walk with my dog. And I know a lot of people will shout at me for doing that, saying, oh, you shouldn't be doing this and all that kind of crap. It was overly long, and it's a very clear indication that the pacing just was not right. For me, anyway. You might have had a completely different experience. I really did like the acting. It was very, very solid. And the pretension that's there was great. Like, it was great. It's intentionally poking fun at the art world. Toni Collette does add some comedic timing to the film. She's great. She really should have received an Oscar nomination for Hereditary for last year, because I mean she's a superb actress and she's really coming into her own again. She's been obviously known for a long time, but she needs to be in more things because she is genuinely a superb actress. I like the film. It just really lacked certain bits and pieces here and there. One key thing, which I think, again, may have gone unnoticed by a lot of people, but some of the shots that they set up were fantastic. They were really, really good. Toni Collette, before her death, for instance, she's looking at some artwork, and you don't really get a feel for how they framed the shot at that point in time until she starts to walk away. And it's really well timed. A lot of people that I've discussed this film with has said that, yeah, there's not that many good shots. And I would argue that actually there are, but the good shots line up with the progression and the story itself. So at that point, we know that the artwork is watching people and thus murdering people, basically. So at that point, we can start to explore these really clever shots. And again, it's that slow, steady descent into pretentious territory. That's how I would say, anyway. And as she walks away, we get a feel for this painting now actually following her. That's how the shot is framed. So she was looking at a painting, she walks away, and then the painting slowly moves and pans and follows her. And for me, it's a shot which I stood up and took note of. It was really, really clever. And again, I don't know if it's just me. I would like to think a lot of other people have picked up on it. But hey, look, that is my review. There's not too much else to say on it. I can recommend it. It is overly long though. It's definitely not a horror. You're not going to be scared. Clever shots here and there. Somewhat underwhelming. It could have been so much better, but good for a Netflix production. Good for a Netflix production. Honestly, Netflix are upping their game. Yes, they will equally have, 5 bad movies for the one good one which will be there, but it's the same as Hollywood. They are just one platform. Imagine that being Hollywood. They're not doing too bad. And when they do a good one, they do a really, really good one. This, unfortunately, does go on to the mediocre to good level. Anyway, guys, let me know your thoughts on Velvet Buzzsaw down below in the comment section. Please, I want to hear your thoughts. Did you pick up on anything? Did you not? Let me know. As always, if you are new here, hit subscribe. Stay up to date on all the world of pop culture and movie news. And if you like this video, give it a like and a share because it really helps me out. I've been Mr. H. Take care.